What's up, City Skylines fans? I'm Socks Way Up, and we're finally back with episode 5 of Salt River Valley, our own take on Phoenix, Arizona. I needed a break from cities. I gotta admit it. I needed a break from City Skylines. We took a little bit of a break. We did some of the vanilla videos, which I'm loving the turnout. I'm loving how many people are seeing those videos. But we're back with our detailed series. And as you see, we're kicking it off with a little bit of detailing right off the bat. The big focus in this episode is catching up on some areas that we didn't really finish before and then expanding on the downtown area. I want to get back to the core where I started the first few episodes and get back to building that downtown area like we wanted to, and that's what we're doing. We're not looking at Google Earth anymore. We're not paying attention to like for Phoenix, as we mentioned in the last episode, and we really kick that into high gear in this episode, in my opinion. So right here, we start focusing on this somewhat skyscraper, probably the biggest building that we've played down so far. We're detailing this corridor, or I keep calling it a corridor. I don't know if it's a corridor. This break area in the back of the building. We're gonna get it outlined here with some fences to begin with, and then add some cool details in the center as we move forward with this exciting episode of Salt River Valley. All right, as you can see, we start out with some tables and some fences, and we decided to strip out the original fences we put down in favor for these tables that have chairs already. It turns out I deleted all the chairs, or most of the chairs, from my assets, and yeah, that's unfortunate, but yeah, we move on. We put a fountain down in the center, and then I thought about this idea of having a hedge on the inside of the fence to separate the downtown traffic from these workers when they're taking a break in this area. I was really thinking about this as a break area for the hardworking employees in this building. And then we're using some of these patterned decals here that look like cobblestones to finish out the floor in this area, just to have it stand out, make it nice for these people while they're taking a break from their hard grind at work during the day. Starting to really look at the detail of each small area is my plan. I really want to keep that moving forward. It's gonna slow down the progress of the city, but this is what I'm really enjoying about City Skylines, is grabbing a small section and detailing it to the fullest. Full disclosure, this is the only one that we did that with in this episode. But I enjoyed it so much, that's gonna be the plans moving forward. I know it's going to take a little while to build this city and finish it. It's going to be a long series. I'm excited for that. I hope that you guys are as well. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for checking out this video. But we move forward. We had some planters because I wanted to add some tree life into this area as well for them to get this real separation from downtown to this little hideaway in their own business complex. That maybe they take their lunch breaks, their coffee breaks in the morning. Maybe you just got to go down there to take a personal phone call or anything like that, just to kind of get you away from the grind at work. Change the lighting here so I could see how this is turning out. Added some benches and then some umbrellas as well. Really loving the amount of detail that went into there, and any other ideas, let me know of what else we could put in this area. I felt like there's something missing. I don't know what it was. We could have filled up around the fountain a little bit better, I think, but I love the way it turned out. I'm excited again. It took a while. I took a break. I'm excited about this city. I want to make another episode right now. I don't want to be doing this voiceover. I'd rather be building the city, which is great. So we jump over here. We add some food trucks. I just love using food trucks in these areas that are kind of empty and extra space with some concrete. I think it looks really sweet, and it's pretty realistic this day and age. And if you're familiar with my series, you've probably seen me do this before. I've tried to take it to another level with this one, with putting seating and putting some trash cans and tables around that area as well. And then here we're adding some more commercial. I decided to just, again, not look at Google Earth. I'm building what I want to build, building what I feel. I've been to Phoenix, I've been to downtown hundreds of times in my life. I know what the look and feel of it is, but I'm making a Socks Way Up version of it. And it stuck in my head finally, and it was so much more enjoyable to make. I had a blast with it. again, I want to be creating more right now as we talk. But right here, we're adding in some detail. Those buildings, we didn't like the way they turned out at first. Again, if you don't like it at first, redo it. Nothing wrong with deleting buildings. Even if people have been living there for 6 months, kick them out. It's your city. But we start over and we do some 2x2s right here because we wanted that extra space behind that fence that we have separating the parking lot, so we can do a little bit of detailing back there when we add in some trucks and a little bit to this area. And a path. Also, one of the things that I've really started to focus on is we have the concrete laid down and we also have concrete paths. Perfect opportunity to use one of the concrete paths so people can just walk by and walk through there and get this area more lifelike, more alive. More people walking around and running around this city is going to make it look sweet, in my opinion. And that's what it turned out. And you'll see later on this episode, this area gets a lot more lively, a lot more people moving around. Wow, I'm running out of breath. And then over here, we laid down some buildings. I think it was episode 3 that were like pre-planning the future of the city. And we're just rearranging them now. So that's why you see some of those extra parking lots out there in the area. Yeah, we really just kind of broke that down to be a separate area of the build. And I dig it. It turns out really cool because I have an idea of where I'm going to put some taller buildings and some parking to really break apart instead of just having building after building after building next to each other. It's a really nice way to break apart the monotony of different areas instead of them just being building after building. You got this like nice parking lot, you have places where people park, and it makes a really good experience, a really realistic city, in my opinion. Maybe that's the secret word of the day. IMO. IMO. All right, back to the building placing. Guys, I'm so excited. I'm so glad I'm back in Salt River Valley. Here we start building some high density, high skyscrapers. I don't like that building, so I get rid of it after I play with it a little bit, but that's part of the fun that I'm having. I'm placing buildings that I like, and I mean, I'm probably a broken record at this point, but I'm having a blast. And here we put a path in the middle of these high density buildings. Later on, when we start seeing people and the traffic flowing through that area, I just dig it. I love seeing people walk around the downtown. It's very realistic. It's very real to what I've seen when I'm in downtown. There's a ton of people walking around. There's a lot of cars as well. It's a mixture. It's not like New York or anything like that, but Phoenix definitely has a lot of people walking around downtown. And I wanted to be able to get that realistic aspect going with that idea in mind. And this area specifically really helped with that. So this next area that we're building, I think every city builder has one of these moments. This is my favorite aspect so far of the city. We have this pedestrian paths, pedestrian zonable roads that we're laying down. And then we're detailing the trees. We're gonna add some shrubs into the in-between between the road and the zonable paths. And then we're gonna lay down buildings on the zonable paths. I love it. I don't know why I've never done this before. Love this idea. We're going to do a lot more of it down this stretch of road and continue it down this path. All right, and right here, we're just adding in a little bit more of those shrubs like I talked about in some detail, and then we're gonna start zoning some low density. It matches what is realistic to this area. Goodness, I say that word a lot, but that's the plan here. We're mixing in this low density, and across the street, we're gonna add some more high density apartment-like type buildings, but first we're gonna lay down this parking lot. Again, matching how we feel this should look and giving plenty of places for people to park and plenty of places for people to live. balancing all of that out as we get closer to the heart of downtown. That's going to be a ton of commercial and offices. Man, I'm hyped. But okay, we continue on, we mirror that, we flip it around. I guess it's not necessarily a mirror, but we get that going. And then we're coming back in with some more of our shrubs, finishing up some of the concrete. But right here, we come back with more of the shrubs and landscaping that goes into this area. Again, we're focusing on the smaller areas and finishing them instead of coming back to them. And moving forward in this episode, we actually go back to some areas that we didn't finish and start planning those out and building those how we need to get them finished. And as you can see, that's what we're doing with this Waffle House and White Castle area here. There was no concrete, or the concrete wasn't finished. We want to make this kind of the concrete jungle type of a situation. There's a ton of concrete. Some areas that we've been doing the landscaping as well, but we move things around. We add some more parking lots. We detail this concrete here in a little bit. We also add some more of those paths in the concrete that I was talking about. Really, really loving this idea. Concrete paths, here we go. We add some planters as well to kind of align or outline those paths to give people a little bit of things to look at while they're walking by. I just think the detail ends up looking cool. Here you can see there's the staining of the concrete we're talking about. Those are a little redundant. I'm going to try not to show too many more of those in these episodes, but I think you get the idea where we're going with that, with this section, with this little clip here. And I've also been thinking about just changing the concrete overall so I don't have to stain it as much. Maybe we could have just a ruined concrete to begin with. So if anybody asked me what the first thing I would think of when I thought of the suburbs in Phoenix, Arizona, it would be concrete walls that separate each house. We have these concrete walls that separate the houses like we're adding here. We're going to separate them between each house and give everybody their own space. And it's kind of, I don't know, I guess Las Vegas and some other cities in the West have this style, and in California. But I mean, that's the one thing that I've had a lot of friends mention to me that have moved from like the Midwest or from the East Coast is just the way we separate our houses. And when I was younger, we visited the grandparents in Pennsylvania, and they had this just wide open land that was there was no fences. They like created tree lines to separate properties from each other, and we don't have that. But so we did that in this little section, and I'm really looking forward to building a large suburb in the next few episodes where we really show this off and show how we separate even the entire neighborhood with a large brick wall around the road area and have some green belts that are landscaped. Man, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but here we're adding some grass in for some of these residents. We don't do it on the other side of the pathway, but we start doing kind of a proof of concept of how we want to maybe detail every single house, and I realize that's a lot of work. We replaced this path with the concrete one so we could fill that in. I kind of feel like we might have made a mistake, but you can also see we're using a lot of palm trees in this area, which we talked about in the first episode, and then I haven't put one down since then, which I thought was kind of funny when I was watching that back the other day. But we are adding them in now, kind of mixing them around. They have some in their backyards, which is pretty standard in this part of the world. And here's some of those planters I was talking about. That clip of me creating them kind of got cut out of the episode I thought I was recording, but I wasn't when we did that. I don't know if they really go, those type of trees. Again, I'm making it my own. I like it. I dig it. We're gonna add a few more of those trees right here, get it rolling, and that's gonna be about it for this episode. We're gonna jump into a live play here in a second. I hope you're enjoying it. Thanks for hanging out. Let's get to that live play. All right, it's time to jump into a little bit of a live play. I feel like the city's becoming mine. I feel like it's becoming mine. I think this episode is a transition for us. We're figuring it out. So we're starting to detail these areas that we kind of left unfinished in previous episodes. You know, I kind of started with, detailing this kind of, I don't know what the word is. It's a little break area. Condor is what I wanted to say. I don't think that's the right word, but a little break area for all the employees of this somewhat tall building in this area. We're starting to get to some skyscrapers here. But yeah, we came back over here and I was using the paths, as we've probably mentioned in the time lapse. But you can see people can walk through these paths. We're giving them a little bit of decorations. I feel like a little bit more detailing could go around the Waffle House and White Castle. Maybe we'll get to that on a later episode. This stretch right here is probably one of my favorites so far. We use the pedestrian zonable roads here to kind of separate the road from the houses on the right here and the mid-rise apartment complexes on the left. The vehicles are there. I need to update traffic manager mod and just let the services drive through there because I do want that to be more of a walking path. But I think that turned out great. We're getting a little bit of coloring, and while we're staring at this, we're gonna fix this here. There we go. That's a little bit better. Yeah, so we're starting to make the city our own, like I mentioned. I love the way this turned out with these pools on top. Look pretty neat. Over here we got our little gas station and 7-Eleven next to each other. Looking really slick. These buildings is where I really broke away from my roadblock or mental block of making this exactly Phoenix. I just decided I'm going to build my own. I'm liking the way it's turning out. This was a smallish area for an entire episode, but I think it was a good amount that we want to tackle. It's going to be a long-running series. I'm really digging it. I'm enjoying the way it's turning out. All right, I can't thank you enough for checking out this episode of Salt River Valley. I'm so excited that it's back. I'm having a blast. I'm probably going to start recording the gameplay for the next episode right after finishing this ending of this video. Outro, that's the word I was looking for. Again, thanks for hanging out. Smash that like button if you don't mind. If you haven't subscribed already and you're already this far into the video, hit that subscribe button. Help out the channel a ton. But yeah, so we do a little thing at the end of these videos for this series where we say a secret word that we have people put into the comments if they've made it this far. And I think this episode we're gonna say I'm thinking. The word is consistency.